Okay, this is H6 day 1, and we're looking at knowing whether to double this consonant at the end of these words when we're adding or est to them. So these are comparatives. When we compare two things, we add to the end of the word most of the time to make it mean more. And when it means the most of something, we add est to the end of a word to mean the most of that thing. So we couldn't say most hot or more hot. We'd say hotter or hottest instead. So let's colour in the at the end of these words. So we know it's always going to be er that we're adding as a comparative to make these words mean more. And then let's colour in the est for the most at the end of these. So we've got hottest, fittest, maddest, thinnest, biggest. So we're adding est to mean the most of a bigger group, or they're called superlatives. And then look, we've got short vowels here. We've got it, at, it. You can colour all of those a different colour. And then you need to colour in the double consonant in the middle of these words, because we are doubling that letter in the middle of all these words. But why we are doubling the letter in the middle of all these words is a very, very important rule for you to learn. Now you're learning to spell long words. Okay, so the first thing we have to ask to know whether to double that letter is we're looking at the base word. Is the base word one syllable? Hot is one syllable. Fit, if you clap it, it's one syllable. So we've got fit. Mad is a one syllable word. Mad, or one clap, we could say. Thin is one syllable. Big is one syllable too. So yes, they're all one syllable words. Do they all have a short sound? Yes. We went through and we highlighted that short vowel sound in all of those words, so we've got 2 ticks. Does the base word end in one consonant? Now if we take off the bit that we've added on, we know the base word does end in one consonant. It's got a T here, one D there for mad, one N in thin, and one G in big at the end of big. So if we get, and then we're adding the suffix er or est. Now, does the suffix start with a vowel? Yes, starts with an e, est starts with an e. So yes, in every one of these words, we got the vowel suffix is present. So we've got 4 ticks for they're all one syllable words, they all have a short vowel sound, they all end in one consonant, and they all have a vowel suffix. It's a bit of a long-winded process to start with, but you'll soon get the idea and be able to shortcut it. So that is why, if we get 4 ticks for those 4 things, we have to double that letter, that last letter of the base word, before we add the suffix on, if it's a vowel suffix. So let's have a look at what these words mean before we move on. So hotter, if something is hot, we'd say, oh, the stove is hot, be careful. But if something is hotter, that means more hot, we would add the and the hottest means the most hot out of all of the things. You may be fit, but someone else may be more fit, so rather than saying more fit, we'd say fitter. But if they were the most fit of everyone, we'd say they're the fittest. So est means the most at the end of the word. Someone might be angry or mad, and someone might be angrier or madder, so we add the to mean more. The maddest person though, or the maddest bull in the yard, we would add est. It means they're really, really angry. Thin, you could have the base word thin. You might say, oh, that cat is thin, but this cat is thinner. But that cat is the thinnest of them all. So it means it's not fat at all. It's very, very thin. Big, you might say that something is big. Like I had a big cake for my birthday, but he had a bigger cake than me. So it means more big, but we don't say more big. That would sound silly. And you might say, but Dad had the biggest cake of all. And to mean the most, we have to put EST on the end. So we've got big, bigger, biggest in the A. So you can see them getting bigger each time. Okay, let's read the words, sound the words, spell the words, and write them. So we've got hot, ter. Let's break them into syllables. So we know if we're breaking these into syllables, we're going to do it between those double consonants. Because if we've got a short vowel, which we do have in all those base words, we have to close the syllable with a consonant. So we've got hot, ter, hot, ter, hot, ter, H-O-T-T-E-R, H-O-T-T-E-R, H-O-T-T-E-R. Cover it, write it 3 times. And then check to see if it's correct. Now the thing to remember with all these comparatives and superlatives is you know that when you add ER it means more, and you know that when you add EST it means most. You can't use more and or most and s. So you can't say it's more hotter today than yesterday, or today is the most hottest day. You have to use the and the EST. If it doesn't sound right with the and the EST, then don't say it and just use the more. But you can't use more and you can't use most and s together to describe. Okay, you can finish the rest of those on your own. Okay, H6, day 2, we're talking about comparatives and superlatives. So when we add to the end of a word, we mean more. So let's colour the in first of all on the end of these words. We've got hotter, fitter, madder, thinner, bigger. So now we'll change colours, and when we want to say the most of something, we add EST. So just remember, I'll write this up there just to help you. When we want to say the most of something, we quite often write EST on the end of a word. When we want to say more of 2 things, one thing is more than the other, we add ER. So I'll put those 2 little hints up there to help you. So we're changing colour, and we're doing the superlative now, which means the most, and we're colouring in the EST. So we've got hottest, fittest, maddest, thinnest, biggest. Now let's colour in, have a look at these, the base words of these. So we've got hot is a short word, it's only 1 syllable, hot. So we could just mark that as 1 syllable. Fit is a short word, fit. Mad is a short word, 1 syllable, mad. It's only got 1 part to it. Thin, the base word thin, is only 1 syllable. Big is a single syllable, 1 syllable. So we know we have to look at that when we are working out whether we double this middle letter before adding these vowel suffixes. So we've got a short word. The next thing we have to look at is, do we have a short vowel in all of those short words? So let's go through and see. Hot, op's a short vowel. It's a short vowel. Mad, at's a short vowel in mad. Thin, thin, it is a short vowel. Big, it's a short vowel. And then we're pretty much nearly at the point where we know whether we can double that letter or not. So let's have a look. If we have a short word, yes, we said they're all short words, so we can tick that. If I have a short vowel, yes, we just went through and we can see they all have a short vowel. Do they all end in one, all those base words, do they all end in 1 consonant? Yes, here, hot ends with a T, that's 1 letter. Fit ends with a T, that's 1 letter. Mad ends with 1 D, so that's 1 consonant. Thin ends with 1 N, if we take the extra bit off, we've got 1 N. And big, the word big ends with 1 G. Okay, so if we get the base word ending with one consonant, yes, we just check that, that's right. And are these vowel suffixes that we're adding on? Yes, they all start with a vowel E. So if we get 4 ticks, that's when we know that we're right in doubling that middle letter. That last letter of the base word has to be doubled. And it keeps the previous vowel short. So colour all of those double letters in a different colour. Now let's go back and read the word, sound the word, spell the word, and then write it. So we've got hotter, hot-ter. So H-O-T-T-E-R, cover it and write it. You might be better to read these words as syllables. So we could put even a break in those syllables. So we'd be splitting those words between that double consonant if we were syllabifying them. Okay, you could probably read, sound and spell the rest of those on your own and write the word. Now here we've got to work out what the base word is, what the comparative is, and what the superlative is. So when you're writing the base word, you're just writing the base of that. So if we take away that double T, we'd end up with hot. We've got hotter. So here for the comparative we add to mean more. And here on the superlatives we're adding est to mean the most. And remember means more when we're comparing two things. Okay, so we've got thin, thinner, thinnest, mad, madder, maddest, big, bigger, biggest. You can finish labelling those. Fill in the gaps with the missing list word. The cow is mad, the bull is madder, but the ox is the maddest. So you can fill in those missing words for each of those sentences. Okay, H6 day 3, we're looking at comparatives and superlatives, and when we add and s to a word, do we have to double the last letter of the base word or not? So let's go through and just highlight the ER in the comparatives. Hotter, fitter, madder, thinner, bigger. So adding ER to the end of a word can make the word mean more of something. Then the next one we're going to go through is to highlight the EST at the end of the superlative. So that means the most of something. To make it mean the most of something, we add EST to the end of the word. Highlight those. Then we've been through this on the day 1 and the day 2, but we know that all of these base words have a short vowel sound. So let's go through and highlight that short vowel sound, the O, the it, and the at, it, in all of those words. Then we know also that we're going to we've got a double consonant in the middle of all of these words. So we can highlight that. Okay. And so they're the patterns that we're seeing in these words, because we know the base words to hotter, hottest, fitter, fittest, etc. are all one syllable words. All of these base words have a short vowel. All the base words end in one consonant, and all the suffixes that we're adding on, the ER and the EST, start with a vowel. So if we get 4 ticks, that tells us that we are doubling those letters in the middle of all of those words. The last letter of the base word gets doubled before we add the vowel suffix in these words. So this is comparatives and superlatives. So comparative is where we compare two things, and the one that means more, we add to it. So we'd have thin, thinner, and the most, or the superlative will be thinnest. Mad, madder, maddest. So use the 4 steps to work out if you double the last letter of the base word, You should be getting pretty good at doing this. First of all, the first 3 steps we're looking at the base word. The last step we have to look at the suffix. So let's do a couple together and then you can do the rest on your own. So sadder, we're looking at the base word. Is the base word sad 1 syllable? Yes. At, is the vowel making a short sound? At is a short sound. Step 3. Does the base word end in 1 consonant? D, yes, there's only 1 consonant after the vowel, so yes. Does the suffix, the bit we add on, start with a vowel? Yes, it does. If you've got 4 ticks, tick it there, and then you have to write the word. That means we've got to double that last letter. So we're going to do the double D before we add the vowel suffix. Now let's go to stronger. Is it a 1 syllable word? Strong. Yes, it is strong. Does it have a short vowel? Is a short vowel. Does it have 1 consonant at the end of the base word? No, it's got 2 consonants. As soon as you get across, go straight to the last column and put your cross there. You don't have to worry about this one because immediately you know that you're not going to double that G at the end of the word. So it will be strong. Okay. Fattest, that's a nice easy one for you to do on your own, but let's try this one together. The base word is nice and we're adding ist. So nice, is it a 1 syllable word? Nice. Yes, it is. Does it have a short vowel? Nice. I. Know the letter. When it says it's long sound I, we know it's making a long sound. So we get across, go straight across here. We don't need to do these 2 squares. And you've got an alert there because if the E's already there, you know you don't have to add another one. You just have to add the ST there. So those ones should be fairly easy for you to do. Just be careful you don't get tricked. So make sure you go through that 4-step procedure every time to make sure you end up with the right spelling of these words at the end. So be very careful on those, but you should be nearly starting to get the idea of this 4-step process. H6 day 4, we're working out what the correct superlative and comparative are for these words. So some of these are quite unusual ones where they don't follow the normal pattern. So choose the correct word and fill in the gap. They're not in order, so don't get tricked. That is something lolly. So you would have that is a good lolly. This lolly is better would be the comparative. And when it's the best one, but this lolly is the best. So that banana is bad. That means when it starts to go black and soft. This banana is worse, but that banana is the worst. So you have to order these from the least to the most for each of those sentences.